Chapter 7 First Contact. The galaxy is a vast place. Due to its sheer size, news does not travel at the same speed across all sectors. Even though a month has passed since the Empire collapsed, there were still those who did not know of the disaster unfolding around them. So when the Stellaris emerged from hyperspace in a distant star system, the first thing Callie did was run a full sensor sweep of the region and listen in to the local radio communications. After listening to the radio chatter for about half an hour, she reluctantly called everyone to the bridge, except Ruto, who was still in the brig. "We've got a problem," Callie told the others. "News of the Empire's collapse has not reached this system yet. The starbase and outlying stations are acting as though everything is business as usual. We're being hailed by almost every ship in the system. The starbase is asking for recognition codes, and the crew of the nearby observation post is demanding we leave right away because we're interfering with their mission." "Observation post?" Teak repeated. "There's a primitive civilization on one of the planets?" "Affirmative," Callie replied, looking over the sensor data. "An avian society. According to my sensor readings, they're in the early space stage. They've figured out nuclear fusion, which means... oh no. They can totally see us. The outpost is right. We need to jump out of the system as soon as we can. We're going to mess up their whole civilization." "That's what I love about you, Callie," Van said. "You're so caring and considerate of others. A more perfect wife I could never ask for." "If you're not going to say anything helpful, Aaron, then shut your mouth," Callie snapped. "Commodore, what's the best way out of here?" "The gateway we're looking for is about 140 light-years away," Commodore Instep replied. "We can get there using the jump drive. If we start spooling up the jump drive now, when can we jump?" 9 days from now, Dak replied. "Let's hope those pre-FTL people don't suffer because we showed up in their night sky for a few days." Day 1. "Attention, flagship Stellaris. This is the Feline observation post. The natives have observed your ship via ground-based telescopes. We have detected references to you in scientific communications across the planet. There is debate among the Feline scientific community as to your identity. Some consider you a previously undiscovered planet. Others argue you are an oversized asteroid. A small minority wonder if you are a comet. However, we feel the need to alert you to a very small subset of the Feline who have correctly guessed, without evidence, that you are a spacecraft. Please leave the system as soon as possible." Day 2. A news agency in one of the largest cities has reported on your discovery. Vivarian agents dispatched to the surface are attempting to manipulate government officials into burying the story. Conspiratorial thinking and distrust of the government is being reported in rural areas outside of major cities. We have also seen at least one Feline scientist claiming that you are an extrasolar object. We predict one more day-night cycle before the entire Feline civilization knows you are a starship. Please leave the system immediately. Day 3. Almost the entirety of Feline civilization knows you are an extrasolar object and that you are not orbiting the sun. We have observed panic buying in many stores in major cities. At least 3 million Feline civilians have evacuated the major cities of their own accord. Atmosphere on the planet is tense. 24 large-scale government telescopes and tens of thousands of stargazers are tracking your ship. Civilians are setting up skywatching groups to observe your movements. You are the primary topic of discussion on most news networks. Government agencies in the regional superpowers are planning to conduct hearings in regard to your existence. You are causing a severe disruption to this pre-FTL civilization. Please leave the system immediately. Day 4. You have been identified. The Feline scientific community linked all radio observatories to each other in order to create a planet-sized radio telescope. You have been photographed by this newly created planetary telescope. Photographs of your starship are being circulated everywhere. Panic is widespread. Feline civilians are fleeing the cities in a very disorganized fashion. Stores and food depots are being emptied out. Martial law has been declared in several regions and military forces are being sortied. Many people on the surface are beginning to talk about the possibility of an extraterrestrial invasion. You are causing irreversible damage to this civilization. Leave the system immediately. Day 5. The military forces of the largest nation-state on the planet are actively searching for additional starships in the system. They have detected the local starbase, and it will not be long until they detect our observation post. This situation has become untenable. The primitives are going to open fire on our station as soon as they find it. Request the Stellaris divert to our location to evacuate the crew immediately. This station must be decommissioned at once. Please come to our location to start evacuation procedures immediately. On the bridge, Callie, Dak, Teak, Van, and Okepi read this final message and descended into their most intense argument yet. "Screw your mission! We're turning around to help those people!" Teak yelled. He tried to grab the helm and turn the ship, but Helperbot reached out to grab him by the arm. "Absolutely cannot let you do that, buddy," Helperbot said. "I have strict instructions from the Commodore not to deviate from our current course." "The primitives on that planet are going to kill the observation crew," Dak and Callie protested. "How many people are on that station?" Teak added. "Are you ready to sacrifice all of them?" "An observation station like that will have about 50 people aboard," Helperbot replied quickly. "All scientists." "Those people are irrelevant to our mission," Okepi countered. "They have no connection to what we are doing, and it needs to stay that way." "That's a load of fancy dung," Dak said. "We've thrown off their work irreversibly, and on top of that, we've endangered their lives. We have an obligation to help, a moral obligation." "In any other circumstance, you would be right," Van replied. "But you need to remember the importance of our work, the timelines we need to keep. If this is about proving your manliness and strength of character to Callie, then pick another battlefield. This isn't the one for you." Dak was rapidly losing his patience with Van. "You want me to pick a battlefield? How about right here and now?" Dak snapped, reaching for the assault rifle strapped to his body. "Enough!" Okepi yelled. "We are not going back for that crew, and that is final. Am I understood?" "There's 3 of us and 2 of you," Teak growled in a threatening tone. "I say this isn't final." Teak and Callie both cracked their knuckles. Dak grabbed his blaster rifle with one hand. At the same moment, Van reached into his uniform jacket and withdrew a subcompact pistol. The 2 men were ready for a standoff. "Dak Jabassim!" Okepi yelled loudly. "Don't you dare act against us! Remember what's waiting for you on Alaria! You're only going to make things worse for your family!" Dak hesitated. Looking out of the corner of her eyes, Callie saw this and was immediately alarmed. "What the hell is he talking about?" Callie said. Dak's hand shook. Callie felt a rising sense of alarm. Something was horribly wrong. After a moment, Dak lowered his rifle. "Fine," Dak said, "but I'm going to make sure Helperbot keeps a record of this. Everyone on Alaria is going to know you sacrificed 50 innocent people when you could have saved them." "Good luck with that," Okepi replied. "According to the AAF Special Forces, I don't exist." Callie and Dak put dozens of miles between themselves and the rest of the crew. Teak refused to let the issue die and continued having a shouting match with Okepi. Van disappeared into one of the many communication rooms. Once they arrived in a lounge, Callie rounded on Dak. "What the hell was that?" she demanded. "Why'd you back down? Do those 2 have something on you?" Dak hesitated for a moment. Then he looked out the window and at the planet Feline. "Yeah, they do," Dak said. Callie started to speak, to demand more answers, but Dak headed her off. "I can't tell you what it is," Dak said, "but those 2 made themselves very clear that there will be consequences for you. If I tell you anything, the hammer comes down on you, Callie." Callie swore. She started pacing around the lounge. She vented her feelings by wishing aloud for Van and Okepi to meet with an awful fate. Then an idea hit her. "What if I find out on my own?" she said, turning to Dak. "Is it possible?" Dak took a deep breath thinking hard. "It is," he finally said. "But the important thing is that if you do find out what's going on, don't tell anyone. Not even me. As the humans say, you've got to play your cards close to the chest, okay?" Callie felt hurt, but understood. She grabbed Dak and brought him in for a kiss. "Just give me a tiny hint," Callie begged. "Where do I start?" "Try to call your family."